Welcome to the EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Suresh Pathare, Professor Director at the BPHE Society's Center for Studies in Rural Development, Institute of Social Work and Research, Ahmednagar. We are discussing about the course on rural development. And as a part of this rural development course, we have a module on food security and rural livelihood. In this particular module, we are focusing on the present condition of rural food insecurity in India. We have specific objective to discuss in this module. What is the food security condition in India? What are the various challenges and issues involved in food security problem in India? And thirdly, what are the different programs that are initiated to improve the food food security situation in India? So by the end of the module, you will have the adequate knowledge about the food security condition. You will know about the food security challenges and also the adequate knowledge about the various programs of food security. India, to begin with the food security condition existing in India, India has the highest number of food insecurity people in the world. Now, when I use this statement, this gives us the alarm that we must have the adequate intervention to work on this issue, the seriousness of this issue. And as a rural development programs, we need to focus our programs in order to improve this situation. In India, the prevalence of food insecurity, particularly access to food, has been shown to be higher among the groups with lower socio-economic background. It is not that the food insecure people are from all the class and all the caste and all, because it is linked with the social and economic aspects. You will be surprised to know that as the production, India is the exporter of the food like rice, wheat. However, at the other hand, we have the problem that the highest number of food insecure people live in India. It is the controversy. It is not the challenge of production, but it is the challenge with regard to the accessibility. It is not that everybody have access to available food. And as I mentioned, that it is not for everyone, but it is for the people from among the groups with lower socio-economic background. When I say the socio-economic background, it means the certain caste groups which are situated at the lower rank. And the economic, again, the poorest of the poor, they have the problem of food insecurity. The interventions and strategies adopted in India are categorized into various categories, and we can mainly highlight that there are three major categories in which the interventions to address this food insecurity problem are. The first category comprised of the interventions aimed at altering the efficiency of the food production. Now, when we say the food production, as we mentioned that there are three challenges: addressing the food production challenge, addressing the challenge of food consumption, and addressing the challenge of accessibility. The second category of the interventions accordingly aimed at the pattern of consumption, how we consume the food. And the third category of interventions are directed or aimed at redressing the imbalances and inequalities in socio-economic groups. The first category is about the production, whereby we produce more. The second category is about the efficient, the second category is about the consumption, whereby we talk about the malnourishment, we talk about the pattern of consumption. It includes both. One side we talk about the malnourishment, the other side we talk about the obesity like diseases, whereby you eat more. So it is basically the pattern of consumption. And the third category is entirely different, whereby we talk about the removing the imbalances that existing in the society. Now, ensuring food insecurity, for ensuring this, three important events has to be taken place: production, distribution, and utilization. Whereas production is concerned, the country must produce enough to supply it to its population, and therefore we need to have more production. And that is why in 1960s we have the green revolution, bringing in more new varieties of the seeds, bringing in new and the improved varieties of crops, where the same area you get the more production. So you have the hybrid production, whereby you get the more yield, and so that you become the self-sufficient, that you don't have to really import food from outside. You don't have to import rice, you don't have to import the wheat, because that is the basic crops, and that is the basic thing that you need to have the food. You can import the clothes, you can import the technology, you can import the other things, but at least for the food, which are the basic needs, we must be self-sufficient. And the green revolution during 60s till 70s, we became really the self-sufficient, producing enough. And for that we brought in technology, for that we brought in the new variety of crops, for that we brought in the pesticides, and for that we also brought in the fertilizers. We started getting in more production to become the more self-sufficient. Now production is not enough. When your godowns are full, when your stocks are available, produced enough, how it is being distributed? Is that everybody in the country, each one getting enough for their needs? It is imbalance. It is not distributed as it is required, because distribution also involves the purchasing power, accessibility question. Not everybody has access to this food, and that is why the systems like PDS, public distribution system, came in, because the availability has been created by producing more. But since the distribution system is not in place and we cannot freely distribute it, we started exporting it, and that is why the problem and challenge of food insecurity remain, rather become severe, because we started exporting it and not distributing it for the local consumption. And of course the utilization, the third challenge, the event, that the food is available, produced, distributed properly, it has to be utilized, and so that also in the challenge. Ensuring food security as a production challenge, in which there is a need to change how food is produced by improving the unit efficiency of food production. And then next, as a consumption challenge, which requires changes in the dietary drivers that determines food production. What we eat, the consumption challenge. We prefer Chinese food, we prefer the fast food, which is not really required for your body, because you may not getting the nutritious values required for your body. You may not get the vitamins required by your body. You may not get the dietary drivers that are determined that is required. But then you are filling your stomach, or you may be enjoying the taste of it. And that's why, as a consumption challenge, you increase your obesity, and the other side you reduce your nutritious values required for your body. So you are become the malnourished one side, or the increase your body weight. And then next, as it is a socio-economic challenge which requires changes in how the food system is governed. Now, when I say the food system is governed, it means, according to this perspective, food insecurity is not a consequence of insufficient supply or non-availability of food or non-production of the food, but it is a challenge of insufficient access, as the section of the society cannot get access to it, because either they do not have the purchase power, or they cannot get the access because of social conditions. And therefore the interventions has to be designed accordingly, and the intervention design needs strategically planned. In India, when we see this challenge, as I mentioned, that production is not a challenge because we have adequate production. We export. We are actually the one of the major countries which exports wheat and rice. It means we have enough here. And on the other side, we don't have. No, we have the highest number of food insecure people. It means that is not the challenge. Challenge is somewhere else, and the challenge is at two places. One is that improving our consumption pattern, and second, we need to have the interventions that we have the appropriate distribution system, that the people who are socio-economically weaker section, who are not able to get the food, has to be their purchase power has to be increased, or we have to have a system in a way that everybody gets enough. And therefore the intervention strategies are also divided into three categories. The first type of interventions are aimed at altering the efficiency of food production, in which strategy is improving the unit efficiency of food and agricultural production, management of natural resources, or environmental protection. Now, when we have to improve this food production, we have to also ensure the environmental protection. So, and how we do it? We do it by getting in improved technology. We get the improved variety of seeds. We get in the fertilizers. We give the more subsidies to farmers to grow more. We give them special subsidies so that they sow the oil seeds, or maybe they sow a particular crop that is needed, and or we increase the subsidy for the particular crop or pulses, so that people produce what is needed for eating. And then sustainable natural resource management is another focus of intervention. Here we don't consider that the need of today is fulfilled, but how we can have the food production continuously for not only this generation but the coming generation. So that is what the focus of intervention is on: technology, improved variety of seeds and fertilizers, subsidies for the motivating farmers to grow a particular crops or particular pulses which are required for the fulfilling the needs of the population. And it has to be sustainable, not considering only this generation but generations to come. The second type of interventions is aimed at pattern of consumption, as I mentioned and discussed in the introductory part, that pattern of consumption for this strategy is improving the awareness about the access to safe drinking water, improved hygiene, improving the accessibility through public distribution system. So it is not only just the distribution, but it talks about the safe and healthy food. It talks about hygienic food. It talks about the pattern of consumption. It talks about improving the awareness level, and it talks about the healthy habits and healthy eating. The focus of intervention in this type of intervention is the supplementary diet to overcome malnourishment. There are children, there are women, and there are section of population who are malnourished, and therefore the programs like midday meals, where you feed the children, where you feed the adolescent girls, where you feed the children of the poor, in order to supplement, giving them supplement diets so that they improve their malnourishment. The focus of intervention is also on the distribution of food, or the food aid to the most vulnerable households, the household that cannot purchase it, the people who do not have the livelihood options, the vulnerable sections needs the aid to get the adequate food, so that everyone gets food and nobody goes hungry. So this second intervention is important because it talks about the pattern of the consumption. It talks about distribution to everyone. Now the third types of intervention, it aimed at redressing the imbalances and inequalities in socio-economic governance and social capital. In this third type of intervention, which is very contextual, and it is the reality of the Indian situation, that the interventions aiming at redressing the imbalances and inequalities in the socio-economic governance and social capital. Social capital means the livelihood option, the network of people, the system of sharing, and the system where everybody gets, how the governance system takes place. Strategies for intervention in this case is improving the non-farm sector, uh, along with the farm sector in rural area. Allied sectors, non-farm sectors are equally important. So improving livelihood options by strengthening this non-farm sector, which is depending on the agriculture and which is allied to agriculture. Creating employment or the entrepreneurship skills, developing and promoting entrepreneurs which are rural based, improving level of community participation in social and civic activities, and also the strategies like enhancing social capital, particularly in terms of uh, reciprocity among neighbors, mutual trust, responsible behavior. Now these are the some of the things that strategized to improve the food security in India. This needs to be strategized. Mutual trust and reciprocity among neighbors is very important because when you live in a community, you know that my neighbor does not have for eating, and this happens especially in the rural area when there is a mutual trust that nobody goes hungry, and that's why my neighbor is not having enough to eat, so they share. So this needs to be improved. Focus of intervention in this third category of intervention is facilitating participatory processes for communities, collective decision and implementation. So these are the three type of intervention patterns that is happening everywhere, and I feel that in Indian context, the third one is very important, whereby we strengthen. If you see the government programs, there are a number of government initiatives taken to address the issue of food insecurity. And let's take stock of some of these programs. Uh, if we list down programs, all these programs can be divided into all these three category, which addresses the challenge of food production, which addresses the challenge of food consumption, and which also addresses the challenge of food distribution. And all these three activities, if you see, for example, the program of National Food Security Mission. Now, National Food Security Mission was in 2007. It was to promote the food security, but however, it was more about promoting the production, increasing the production, giving subsidies to the farmer so that they increase the production. This was taken into mission mode so that we become the more self-dependent. Then National Policy on Farmers, again in the same year. National Horticulture Mission, which was just before that, whereby promoting the horticulture, whereby promoting the more food production, we increase the production. And a National Mission on Pulses and Oilseeds. If you see all these initial programs, they were addressing the challenge of production. It is promoting farmers to get more production. It is about improved technology. It is about improving the varieties of seeds. It is improving about more yield giving type of production. It is promoting the fruits. It is like Horticulture Mission, which was promoting the horticulture on the dry land. Now, the National Mission on Pulses and Oilseeds, which are promoting the farmers so that we become the dependent on the edible oils, so producing more oil seeds. Other programs like next program is a National Rural Livelihood Mission. Now, this National Rural Livelihood Mission is convergence of many other programs existing for promoting the rural livelihood. However, this becomes very important program for improving the rural food insecurity. Rural Livelihood Mission program is promoting the livelihood by promoting the people, giving them skills, giving them employment, and in a way ensuring that everyone gets either starting their own allied livelihood option, maybe entrepreneurship, or they get they form SHGs, and through SHGs they initiate some collective activities. So either individual or collective activity that they initiate to get the livelihood. Livelihood mission is taken on the missionary mode so that the youth, the women, and the unemployed rural people are being given the livelihood. Then National Rural Employment Guarantee Act came in 2005. This was also very major program to ensure the food security. It ensures that at least 100 days employment everyone who is looking for employment must get, and if not the 100 days employment, they get the allowance for 100 days. If we are not being able to provide the employment, it means those who are willing and those who are asking for employment, they must get either employment or the allowance of 100 days. It means in a way ensuring that you get something to purchase the food. So it is also earlier this same program used to be called as like the food for work. You get work, and it is not, food is not given freely, but you work, and those who are asking work, they are given the work, and in return you get the food. Then National Rural Health Mission. Now this program is addressing the challenge of consumption. National Rural Health Mission is again convergence of many other programs many other programs which addresses about malnutrition, which addresses about the health issues, and these are the programs that addresses the rural population, especially the malnourished children. It talks about the women. It talks about the providing the health services to the rural masses. In with regard to the consumption challenge, the integrated child development services is another very important program must be understood. That because it also deals with the overcoming the food insecurity or improving the food security, especially about the children and adolescent girls and about the pregnant women. So this program addresses these three categories which are vulnerable and which are often suffering from malnourishment. Will be surprised to know that the India has the highest number of malnourished children, underweight children, and this program is trying to address the issue of malnourishment. Then we have the program called the midday meal for children of 6 to 14 years. Midday meal program providing the food, especially in the rural areas, through the Anganwadis or through the primary school, children going to school or the middle school, whereby children are fed with the nutritious food, ensuring again that malnourishment is reduced or we improve the food security. Public distribution system, another program which is probably the one of the biggest distribution system in the world. The public distribution system eventually became the targeted public distribution system in 1990s, whereby we ensure this distribution, whereby initially the food was distributed to the people which falls under the category of the poverty line, where especially the targeted food distribution system, public distribution system, which categorize the people who are really vulnerable and who are the more required for the eatable items. So the under this public distribution system, we provide them the subsidized or the very low cost food items, quality food. And then lastly, this Janani Suraksha Yojana, Mother's Protection Scheme, is also a program initiated by the government to ensure the food security. It is basically it is about the maternity and taking care of the pregnant and delivered mothers. So these are some of the major programs. And with these programs, what I would like to do is let me conclude and sum up that what we discussed in this module. We tried to understand that the condition or the situation of India with regard to the food security. And we also discussed that India is one of the country which has the highest number of the food insecure people. Even though on the map or in the global hunger index we are lower, and we are also like the severe category where the more people, but then number is more because we have the huge population. We also discussed that the various challenges to address the food insecurity, and there are three categories of challenges that we discussed. One is about the production challenge, the other one is the consumption challenge, and third one is the distribution challenge, because these three things needs to be happen in order to meet the ensure the food security. And in these three, in order to meet these three challenges, government has also has the three categories of interventions. So these three categories of interventions we discussed, and accordingly we discussed that there are various programs that designed by the government for ensuring food security. All these programs can be categorized into three categories that we discussed, and in order to understand further, I recommend you to visit the websites of governments of these different programs. Each about each program you get the details about. You also visit the UNICEF's website. You also visit the ICDS website, and which provides you more details about the program. Thank you.